You know the term midlife crisis, right? It probably brings to mind some pretty cliched images. But what if that whole idea is just completely wrong? Today we're going to dig into what's really happening during this pivotal time. Forget the crisis. This is about the most important invitation your psyche is ever going to send you. So let's figure out what that invitation actually says.
It usually kicks off with a question. Just a quiet, nagging little question that kind of bubbles up from deep inside. You look around at your life, the one you've poured everything into building, and you just can't help but wonder, is this really it?
And look, it's rarely some big, sudden explosion. It's usually more of a slow burn. It's this creeping feeling that the life that used to fit you perfectly, well, it just doesn't anymore. It's like wearing clothes that are a size too small. Something is just off. You can't put your finger on it, but you absolutely know it's there.
And see, this is where we run into the biggest problem, the whole myth of the midlife crisis. The way our culture frames it, the way we talk about it, actually stops us from understanding what's really going on under the surface.
This right here shows the huge disconnect. On one side, you've got the cultural caricature, the new sports car, the desperate affair. It's all painted as this failure of nerve, right? A sad attempt to feel young again. But the psychological reality, especially if you look at it through the eyes of Carl Jung, is something else entirely. It's not a failure. It's a message from deep inside you. It's not about going backward. It's an invitation to grow. It's a necessary reckoning with who you are.
And that is the real danger of the cliché. We treat it like a joke, and that becomes this massive distraction. It lets us laugh off one of the most important developmental stages of our entire life. By focusing on the silly caricature, we completely miss the message.
So, to really get what's happening, we need a better map. And for that, we're going to turn to the psychologist Carl Jung and his idea of the two halves of life.
So Jung's idea was that our lives have two major psychological jobs. The whole first half, it's all about building the structure. Building a career, a family, an identity in the world. It's totally focused on external achievement, becoming someone society can recognize. But the second half of life, it has a completely different task. The job here is to move beyond that structure, to shift your focus to internal integration, and to go from being someone recognizable to being someone who is truly, genuinely yourself.
Now, the main tool for that first half of life is what Jung called the persona. The easiest way to think about it is as your social mask. It's not fake, not really. It's the version of you that gets the job done, that functions at work, in your family, out in the world. It's a totally necessary and important tool for getting by.
But here's the thing. In building that successful persona, you have to make choices. You have to put parts of yourself aside. Maybe it was a passion for art that just wasn't a real career, or a rebellious streak that didn't fit your professional image. All those different paths you didn't take, all that unlived potential gets packed away into what Jung called the shadow. And it's not evil or bad. It's just all the parts of you that you had to leave behind to become the adult you are today. And then, right around midlife, after being quiet for decades, all that unlived life, it starts to make some noise. And this moment right here is what this whole transition hinges on.
This quote, this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The so-called crisis is nothing more than the shadow, all that accumulated, unlived life knocking on the door of your conscious mind, just asking to be let in. It's a call for you to become whole.
So, what does that knock actually feel like? Well, it feels like the life you've built so perfectly has suddenly lost all its color. Your successful career feels hollow. The relationship that looks perfect from the outside feels totally empty on the inside. That identity, your persona, which used to feel like a powerful tool, now feels like a prison. That deep, gnawing dissatisfaction, that is the knock.
Okay, so this knock, it's not comfortable at all. It's disorienting. And so what do most of us do? Instead of answering the door, we look for the nearest fire exit.
And yep, here they are again, the classic cultural caricatures. The sports car, the affair, throwing yourself into work, trying to numb the feeling out. And what do all of these have in common? Every single one is an external response to a deeply internal question. They're all attempts to fix a soul-level problem with a surface-level patch.
And that's the fundamental mistake. All these actions are designed to do one thing: make the knocking stop. They are distractions, not answers. And they never work, because the part of you that's knocking doesn't care about a new car. It's asking for a new level of honesty with yourself.
Now, Jung also pointed out two other more subtle ways we try to escape. The first is what he called inflation.
This is when you just blow up your old life completely. You declare it was all a lie and abandon everything. The other extreme is collapse. This is when the knock is so scary that you retreat, clinging to your old persona for dear life, becoming rigid and afraid of any change. But both of these miss the point. The goal isn't to pick the old life or the new impulse, it's to integrate them.
So if all the escape routes don't work, what does? How do you actually open the door and answer this invitation?
Well, the path forward really involves 3 key steps. First, you have to take the question seriously. Stop brushing it off. Genuinely ask yourself, is this life really mine? Second, you have to engage with that shadow. That means paying close attention to your inner world, your dreams, your gut reactions, your big emotions. That's all data. And third, and this is the big one, you have to completely redefine what success actually means to you.
The whole scorecard for success has to change. In the first half of life, success is all about what other people can see and recognize, status, titles, achievements. But in the second half, success is an inside job. It's about what genuinely satisfies you, not what looks good to everyone else. It's a huge shift from hunting for external approval to living by your own internal truth. When you boil it all down, this is the invitation. It's a call to become a more whole, complete version of yourself. It's not about destroying the life you built, but about enriching it with all the parts of you that got left behind. It's about moving from a life that is merely functional to one that is truly, deeply, and genuinely inhabited by you.
Look, getting through this isn't easy. The work is hard, and it definitely doesn't promise comfort. But what it does promise is something way more valuable: authenticity. It offers you the chance to live out the rest of your days, not as a cliché, but as the person you were always meant to become. So the real question this leaves us with is, when you hear that knock, will you open the door?